Welcome to our on-demand webinar. Today we're going to be talking about waste education tips for engaging all demographics. Today's webinar is brought to you by Recollect, a routeware company. A little bit about Recollect. That's us. We're Recollect. We're a tight-knit team of passionate, authentic, and purpose-driven people committed to changing the waste and recycling industry, one organization at a time. We're a technology company with 40 years of combined experience in waste, recycling, and technology. We've been building digital recycling education and outreach tools since 2009 for government agencies, waste haulers, educational institutions, and business organizations. Our team is made up of leaders in public policy, technology experts, data ninjas, and highly experienced sustainability and recycling educators. We have a very deep understanding of recycling education and outreach, and we provide that to you as our customers. Today's webinar is going to be brought to you by myself, Darren Shays-Green. I'm relatively new to the waste industry. I just joined Recollect back in 2021. But before that, I had almost a decade of management experience in the telecom industry, where I helped pilot many e-waste programs still in use all across Canada. I'd now like my associate to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Hind, and I am the Waste Reduction and Recycling Specialist here at Recollect. I've been with Recollect for about 6 months, but prior to that, I have experience in the solid waste industry in both the private and public sector, in outreach and education, and in sustainability initiatives. We're both new to Recollect, but we're very happy to be here to present this webinar for you.
Today's webinar is going to be focused on engaging all demographics for proper recycling. We're going to be focusing on a few specifics, primarily overcoming language barriers for people that have English as a second language, as well as engaging with your senior and transient populations. We're going to show you how you can use Recollect to influence your communications to engage these demographics.
So it's important to engage those hard-to-reach demographics because 50% of US residents will be classified as multicultural, and it's very important that your education and outreach is culturally competent within these diverse communities. We have 16% of US population is 65 or older, and that's growing at a fast rate. And then 43 million US citizens are travelers, and travelers now are ecologically responsible, so they're taking their sustainability initiatives with them as they travel. So as you see, they make up a good portion of the community, and you don't want your education and outreach efforts to be missed by this portion. So now we're going to move on to how to engage English as a second language speakers and how to overcome those language barriers. So some things to ask yourself before you start formulating your communication program is, what languages are prominent in your area? So it's important to understand what communities exist in the area you service. Does your organization offer translation services? And if so, what solid waste education and promotional collateral do you currently translate?
So take a minute and look at this slide. This is all of our multi-language options that are included in all of our digital communication tools, whether they're on your website or they're on our white labeled branded app for your municipality or your private business. All of these languages here are easily translatable, and we do also offer a premium translation for our two most popular requested languages, French and Spanish. We're working diligently every day with our customers to hear their feedback of what are the most popular and requested languages so we can add this into our tool. I'm going to take a quick minute and actually show you how one of our customers utilizes these languages using our tools. So as you can see on my screen here, this is a longtime customer of ours, Houston, Texas, and they have a very large multicultural population. You can see here, this is our web tool widget, as well as the links to download our white labeled app for the city of Texas. Whether it's on the App Store, Google Play, or on the web, we've got you covered for all of your languages. As you can see right here, it's very easy for your residents to select which language is most important to them, and our tool will always remember that selection, so they only have to make that selection one time. Even better, on our mobile app, the mobile app automatically detects what language your resident will have in their settings, so there's not even a change that they have to make. It will be a completely seamless change and really show you and give all the information in the language that they prefer. As you can see here. So when you are formulating your outreach and engagement plan, make sure you're engaging with multicultural media partners, newspaper, magazines, radio and TV stations. Form partnerships with community leaders, and centralize and localize your content on your website and app.
So now we're going to move to talking about our aging populations and how to engage those demographics. So some things to consider again before planning your communications and outreach program is understanding the makeup of your community. So understanding if you have a large populations of seniors and how does that compare to the national average? How does these groups best digest and receive information? Are you familiar? Are you aware of what tactics are most effective in reaching those demographics? And then what do the services that you offer look like for these groups?
When you're formulating your outreach and engagement plan for seniors, remember, keep it simple. Make it easy for your aging population to receive the information they need. And truthfully, we have data that shows the senior population definitely adopts our digital tools. So don't assume that they won't. Definitely delight and service your residents by providing reminders by email, text message, and phone call. Our tools are accessible and available to all users, and we get third-party audited to confirm our WCAG AA 2.1 accessibility compliance on our web tools and our mobile app every single year. I'm now going to share my screen and kind of show you a quick example of our collection calendar, again, leveraging our customer, Houston, Texas. This is our collection calendar tool. And as you can see, your resident, once they put in their residential address, they're going to see some extra information from the city regarding what's going on right now. As well, they're going to see their next event. As you can see, yard waste, trash, and recycling. Right under here, you're going to see the digital calendar for the upcoming events. Maybe your resident doesn't want to use our digital tools. Maybe they really prefer that printed calendar. No problem. We offer that solution right here, right in front, easy to see, part of our UI. Get a calendar, print it out on yourself, put it on the fridge, whatever you'd like to do with it. As well, one of the most powerful parts of our tool is getting a reminder. As you can see, there's definitely many different ways to receive that reminder. Specifically, senior populations really like getting that phone call. Very easy for them to set that up right here. They add in their phone number, no private data is collected, and they select what time they want this call. Very important to note, we don't want your resident to get another robocall from some strange number. The number that they get stays the same every week, and it's also a local number to their area. So they're not going to think it's some sort of robot call or anything like that. As well, when your resident receives this reminder, if the city wants to provide some extra recycling tips or information, they can definitely provide that as well. It all comes through on the phone through a recorded voice. As well, if your resident doesn't have the time to pick up the call, maybe they're at work, maybe they're outside, it definitely will go right into their voicemail and they can get that reminder right away. So whether they want the mobile app, whether they want the digital tools, or they want to keep it simple with a printed calendar and a regular old phone call, Recollect has you covered.
And now we're going to shift our focus to talking about our travelers and our new community member, our transient groups. So again, some things to consider before building your program is, does your organization have a dedicated resource that works directly with these groups? What do the services look like that you offer for these groups? And then can people easily find waste information on your website? So this is especially important for travelers. They're there to enjoy their time, so they want to have the information within a few clicks away.
We're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects right now, pizza. Everybody loves pizza. I just had it last night. Might have it again this weekend. Whether I'm at home, whether I'm traveling, pizza's always enjoyable. Maybe I'm traveling to Chicago for some deep dish pizza that I don't have normally in my hometown. Once I eat that pizza, well, what's left? My pizza box, right? Well, where does that pizza box go? Does it go in the compost? Does it go in the garbage? What's the condition of the pizza box? Is it too greasy? Is it just greasy enough? Is there cheese still all over the place? These are very common occurrences that happen to all of us, and every municipality handles these challenges differently. I'm going to take another example, or I'm going to use another example here of Houston to kind of show you how they handle this issue. So as you can see, I'm going to be utilizing our Waste Wizard tool with the example of our customer in Houston, Texas. As I search for pizza, it automatically comes down of whether I'm disposing the actual pizza itself or a pizza box that's greasy or a pizza box that's empty with no food residue. Your residents or travelers will be able to very quickly see where does the pizza go. As you can see, empty with no food residue, it can go into their green recycling cart. As well, you can include special instructions to make sure that if, as you can see, remove the top portion, maybe clean it more. Well, what do you do? Maybe the pizza box is too greasy. Well, let's take a look. As you can see, if it's too greasy, it just goes right into the trash. However, every municipality really handles this differently. Where I live, we do have an organics bin, and that's where this would go to be composted. However, as I mentioned, every municipality is different, and that's really the magic of our Recollect tools is we work with you to make sure that your residents get the information that they need for your area. When you're formulating your outreach and engagement plan, remember, leverage our technology, leverage our experience for promoting, centralizing, and educating people for your localized waste and recycling programs. Make the information easy to find and accessible for people to self-serve. Cross-promote your waste and recycling information on all of your websites, not just your one city page, where our tool can be shared on your Facebook page, on any partner's page, maybe even the town landfill has its own website. We do not limit where our tool can go because we really want this information to be front and center so that all demographics can get this information easily, whether they live there full time, or they're just traveling for the weekend. We want this information to be easily accessible.
And now we're going to have our speaker, Nina, to talk about the program at Walking Mountains Science Center and how Recollect tools have helped them reach those hard-to-reach demographic and have success.
My name is Nina, of course, and so my role at Walking Mountain Science Center is to manage our waste diversion and reduction programs, as well as my department's education and outreach initiatives. So a lot of these concepts kind of cross over into both of those job responsibilities for me. So today I'm going to talk about what we've been doing to try to make our programs and information and resources more inclusive of our community, as well as some of the challenges that we've gotten. I don't know if I'm like the expert specifically in this, but we have been working on it. So I can certainly share some things that have worked and some things that have been challenging for us as well. So just for a little bit of background about our organization. So Walking Mountain Science Center, we're in Avon, Colorado, which is in Eagle County. If anybody has been to Vail or Beaver Creek ski resorts, those are both in our county. Our local population, our full-time population is about 55,000, but we have a huge population of transient seasonal tenants as well as tourists. So we have a lot more than 55,000 people who come through our county at any given time, which I'll talk about a little bit. And our community is about 25% primarily Spanish speaking, though I would imagine the population that's bilingual is much higher. And then I will say I'll talk kind of mostly about the work we've been doing with our Spanish speaking population, but a subgroup that we haven't tapped into as much is with our seasonal employees. We have a lot of people coming from all over the world, so they speak multiple languages. So certainly to Grant's point earlier about pictures being really important, we could not possibly translate into every language that we see coming into Eagle County. So pictures have been our friend, absolutely. Okay, and then just to talk a little bit about the Recollect tools that we use. We launched with Recollect in 2018, so it's been, I guess, 3 years now. Our biggest tool is the mobile app, and kind of the Eagle County Waste Wizard app, which of course we use as the web platform as well. We also utilize the event calendar quite a bit, that function. That's really helpful because we do a lot of outreach events. And then those are just some key metrics down at the bottom. just to kind of give an idea of our usage, I guess. So a little bit of an overview to kind of understand the context of Walking Mountains, and then how we use the Recollect tools, and how we use them for our programs. So the waste diversion programs are part of our sustainability programs department here within Walking Mountain Science Center. And we are a natural science education nonprofit organization. So our mission is to awaken a sense of wonder and inspire environmental stewardship and sustainability through natural science education. We have a number of different programs, and then within the sustainability programs, we do action work, sustainable business, energy programs, sustainable tourism, and then waste programs, and then education and outreach is kind of the overall like overarching programmatic force, I guess. Slide. So since we are an education-based nonprofit organization, we're not a hauler or a municipality, so we use our Waste Wizard app a little bit differently, though we kind of cover those with how we format it. And we use the Waste Wizard as a part of kind of a suite of outreach tools for our waste diversion programs. So organizationally and specifically within sustainability programs, since that's what I'm most familiar with, we are making a significant effort to make sure that our programming is more inclusive of our community in really any way that can mean. And we certainly have a significant focus on making sure that, as much as possible, we're making our resources available in Spanish, because that's a significant part of our population and of our full-time population. So, we want to make sure the goal really for us is to, as much as possible, make sure that our programming is relevant for all of our residents and our many visitors, because we don't want the reason that folks don't know how to recycle right is because we haven't made the answers accessible to them, and we haven't put it out there in a way that makes sense for those folks. So one of the I would say the major successes and kind of the opportunities that we've had, that we've taken advantage of, is our very many wonderful partners within our community. We're a very community focused county. So we are very fortunate to have the Eagle Valley Outdoor Movement, which is a county-wide collaborative, community-wide collaborative that strives to provide equal access to outdoor spaces and opportunities for youth and families in our community. The Eagle Valley Outdoor Movement, it's collaborative, but it's housed at Walking Mountains, so it's really easy and accessible for us to partner with those programming staff, and they primarily lead programming in Spanish. So the benefits of that include, the program leaders already have a really strong network of connections and participants. And really simply, I don't speak Spanish. So it doesn't make sense for me to try to tap into those communities or those networks if I can't necessarily do that myself. That, makes sense. So the push has been to offer our programs and translate all of our materials into Spanish. And then really important for us has been taking it a step further to make sure that the translations are not only technically accurate, but are also culturally relevant to our community, which Grant mentioned. We have a wonderful marketing coordinator for the EVOM program who has been working on really just double checking the Waste Wizard to make sure that the Google translations are relevant and useful. We can see from our dashboard that folks are using our app and our web platform in Spanish, and that usage is increasing. So we want to make sure that we are giving that attention to that part of our app and those Recollect tools. And so some other things that we've been working on is just translating all of our outreach materials. This has been kind of ongoing, and we keep finding additional materials that need translation. We're also offering our community recycling tours in Spanish, led by the EVOM program staff. So this has definitely just allowed us to more effectively deliver our message and, again, take advantage of their expertise in not only the community, but also the best methods of communication for their networks. So we're still kind of learning and adapting on that, but the successes that we have had have certainly been through the partnerships and just learning through those leaders. And even if, I'm guessing not every community user, customer, et cetera, has an EVOM specifically, but there are likely and there's likely some form of an existing network or organization or leaders for your targeted community that you could tap into, or take advantage of those Recollect tools as well. Okay, slide. Great. So as I mentioned, again, Eagle County has a huge population of visitors and transient staff. And because the population, our full-time population itself is quite small, but we do have so many visitors, we're kind of constantly struggling to about how to make sure that our initiatives are matching the biggest waste generators. And that has certainly been a challenge and something that we kind of constantly talk about. So Jenica, if you want to click. Perfect, thank you. So we're constantly kind of evaluating where our biggest potential here is, and it does change, and it's often really hard to identify, and the messaging is quite different, we found. So for visitors and also for our seasonal employees, we tend to focus on low-hanging fruit. Some of those like easy common items like, recycling rules, as we all know, compost rules, et cetera, change by location, but like aluminum cans, plastic bottles, cardboard are kind of those really easy and common items. So even seasonal employees working at our local businesses maybe won't have the capacity in 4 months to grasp all of our rules, but hopefully they can grab onto those. And then with visitors, we try to kind of spread the message of our Eagle County Waste Wizard app and say, like, a lot of communities have these apps or similar Recollect tools. So, if you're coming from Denver, they have a similar app, check it out. For locals, our messaging tends to be focused more on those, those common items, but also additional diversion opportunities and access to those opportunities, like textiles, composting, kind of things like that. It's definitely a big challenge. That's a big challenge because organics diversion is a huge push for our community's climate action goals, but it's really hard to get visitors to compost and compost correctly and have access to composting. So we haven't quite locked that in yet, but this thing on the slide is an example of one of our outreach and education tools. It's a recycling guide that we update twice a year to kind of capture any updates in recycling or changes in whatever. And this is one of those tools or resources that we constantly have the conversation about who this is targeting. Like, is this for locals? Is this for visitors? How is it possible to make it for both? Yeah, so that's kind of, I just like to put this up there as just one of those examples where we're having that conversation. And, every community certainly has different populations that need different outreach tactics. So, local, transient, and tenant homeowners are a really big one for us. What I kind of mentioned, various languages, again, I talked about, and then young and old is a big one here, especially our transient employees in our community tend to be quite young, but our full-time residents tend to be older. So our strategy has honestly been to try any form of communication we can think of and hope that we're hitting something that resonates with either the young or the old or both. We do a lot of social media. We've been talking a lot about if older people by now and this kind of stage in the pandemic are comfortable enough using QR codes. We put this guide out in the local paper because we know that is a tool that our older population uses here. We also have this guide linked to our Recollect tools. So in our app, you can go to the website for this link and download it. So thanks Jenica for setting that up for us. So just a couple of things we've tried. My biggest takeaway from working on this is to honestly just try as much as we can and just keep adapting, but really taking advantage of the local resources and partners that we do have has been definitely the most effective. Yeah. So that's all from me.
Thank you for watching. I really hope that this was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Myself and Hind, we love talking to people out there and seeing how our tools can really help your municipality with your unique situations. Today's presentation will be sent to your emails, and if you have any questions, contact us through recollect.net and hit that Let's Talk button. As well, subscribe to our educational newsletter and get more information like this sent directly to your inbox. Thanks so much. This is Darren and Hin from Recollect, signing off.